thanks for watching. We have some great sports to talk about tonight. We got Big Mike Butera, Smoking Jim Frazier, Chip the Prophet Hayner, and I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine. And we're going to start out with, for all you folks that don't know how we start the show, we start with What's on Your Mind. And we have Big Mike Butera. What's on your mind, Mike?
Why did you wait until the end of the year to tell somebody how our show format is?
We're getting new viewers all the time.
In that case,
matter of fact, they were asking about you last week, so try to smile for the camera for the folks.
Well,
okay?
I want to smile, but
I'm in charge of the sarcasm here, buddy. Go. What's on your mind?
There are a few things, and the first of which is ugly. But I have a point I want to make about the what happened last week in Connecticut, and I mean, we all know what happened. We all know what happened because it's in our face every day since. We all know that there's going to be a lot of lives of family and extended family of those people that are just going to be forever altered. But my point is, when is enough enough? My wife is a news junkie, and she has the Channel 11 news on every day, and this is 24/7. And what I mean by when is enough enough? I mean, geez, oh man, all this does is enable another fruitcake to get it in his head or her head or whomever's head that you know, maybe I'm going to have an opportunity to do this, or maybe I want to do it, and I can't stand it. Now, why am I bringing it up? I mean, we're kind of like on TV or whatever, and we're not the media, but I'm bringing it up because it just irks the living hell out of me. And to the best of my knowledge, there's two people who watch this show, and that's Rick and Loretti in Frankfort, Illinois. Wave to Rick and Loretti, guys. So I'm sure at least that message is getting to them. And speaking of Rick and Loretti in Frankfort, Illinois, I have a stocking stuffer idea for you. It seems that the Powered Ownership has come up with a new alternative uniform for Sundays, another way to get some jack from you. So there's a stocking stuffer for you, Rick and Loretti in Frankfort, Illinois. And since I'm on baseball, now everybody's waving at Rick and Loretti. They love it. Oh boy, oh boy. Cards and letters, folks. What happened this past couple weeks in baseball with the Dodgers and the Angels? Well, that's pretty. I don't even know what to say, and I'm very much into baseball. But one of the and what I'm referring to is they signed a lot of big contracts and you know, they're expected to go over the top, even the Toronto Blue Jays. But one of the things that I've found that's been very interesting is that all the Major League Baseball.com and Major League Baseball sporting news and all this jazz, everything that I read, nobody has just literally given either of those or any of those teams a pennant, and I really like it because you gotta see this. Stop shaking your head, drive me nuts up there. Because you gotta see the games on the field, and I'm really looking forward to the baseball season because between the Dodgers, the Angels, and the Blue Jays, if one of the three makes the playoffs and goes deep, I'd be surprised. So there you go. Happy holidays.
Thanks, Big Mike.
There you go. Okay. If I didn't get that, I know I didn't do good.
Good job, Big Mike.
All right, Smoking Jim Frazier, what's on your mind?
Hey, thanks, Talking Machine. Appreciate it. On my mind is it's one of the happiest days of my life. Congratulations to the team over on the North Shore, the Pittsburgh Steelers. They signed former Gateway All-American and Penn State superstar Justin King. And I tell you what, the Pittsburgh Steelers finally woke up and opened the doors to a pipeline at Gateway High School. Last year, on their practice squad, they had linebacker Morty Ivy, former Gateway Gator in West Virginia. And now you got Justin King. And I suspect in a year or two they'll have Dorian Bell to be the starting middle linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And always remember this, Pittsburgh, as the Roman Empire begins to crumble, as I predicted, when Bill Cowher's player starts to retire. Steelers next year, I'm already predicting in 2013, them going 7-9. I predicted this year 8-8. The last two previous years, I predicted 12-4. So I've been 100% on my predictions with the Steelers. But keep in mind, as you look locally, Gateway has 55 scholarship athletes currently playing in college football. So you should try to get a couple Gators on your team each and every year. Keep your local fan base strong. And congratulations, Pittsburgh, for signing the best all-around football player in the WPIAL I've ever seen, and that's Justin King. Good luck.
Thanks, Smoking Jim. You gave us some interesting insights. You don't have to go far to do that scouting job that you have. All you do is sit in the stands there.
That's it.
You've already recruited these guys once.
And you still are going to be in the. You'll still be in the Steeler war room, I assume. So you can put soft by everybody else. Get your steak and go with Gateway.
There you go.
But we'll revisit some of this in our next segment. But Chip Hayner, what's on your mind?
Yeah, thanks, Alan, and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everybody that pays attention to our little show. What's on my mind is, once again, it's the NFL, it's Roger Goodell, and it's, the kind of mockery that they're making out of the whole system. Last night on, Pittsburgh Sportsline at Level 20, I made a mention of the fact that the Dallas Cowboys had Josh Brent on the sidelines on a nationally televised game 8 days after he was responsible for killing his best friend and teammate. And I thought it was really in poor taste on the Cowboys' part. I can understand they want to support their brother who's having a bad time, but it's the facts are the facts. He because of his own stupidity, he committed cold-blooded murder is the way I look at it. So the report comes out that, oh my goodness, the head coach didn't know he was there on the sidelines. The general manager had no idea he was there on the sidelines, and the NFL had no idea that he was there on the sidelines.
One other.
So,
did you hear Jerry Jones didn't know until he saw on TV?
That's the general manager.
Well, I consider the owner.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't give him that title.
So
You're correct.
All these people were unaware that this gentleman was being allowed on the sideline. Now, isn't that amazing how an organization like the Dallas Cowboys, who's micromanaged by Jerry the Genius, he wasn't even aware about it until he saw it on TV. And at the halftime of the game, I got to commend Boomer Esiason because he made some very harsh comments about it and on what he thought. I felt it was inappropriate. I thought it was a slap in the face to anybody that's lost a family member to a drunk driver. And, finally the Cowboys officials went to him and said, maybe it's not such a good idea for you to stay out here for the second half. But, and so today they announced that the Dallas Cowboys and the NFL have banned him from the sidelines for the rest of the year. Well, I'm really glad they did that. And I'm waiting for the suspension that comes along with this. How long is he going to be suspended for? Because Alameda Tiamu, he got a 2-game suspension for getting arrested for drunk driving, for eluding the police, for wrecking into parked vehicles, for injuring a woman that was in a parked car, and then, of course, for fighting with the police officers. Which, in my mind's eye, is a far cry less than committing cold-blooded murder, okay? So if that warranted a 2-game suspension, where is the suspension? And if the Cowboys aren't going to suspend him, then, I would think it would fall to Roger Goodell to do something like that. But right now, they all look like a bunch of fools. That's the first thing that's on my mind, Alan. And I have one other. And
Go ahead, you're on fire.
I would like to take to task a group of players that play for our illustrious Pittsburgh Steelers that like to call themselves the Young Money Crew, okay? I think they're a bunch of fools and buffoons, and they play like crap, okay? Antonio Brown got paid $45-50 million this year because he was the next up-and-coming star on the team. I guess he forgot the work that it took for him to get to that point because he hasn't put in the work to do that, and he's directly responsible for at least 2, possibly 3 losses this year because of the way he's been playing. Mike Wallace has been an embarrassment all year, evidenced by the fact that in overtime, when Ben threw the ball up that got picked, he didn't make an attempt to even try to knock the ball down, and then he stood there and watched the defensive back grab the ball and start running towards his goal line before he realized, like, oh, maybe I should do that. And then the fastest guy in the NFL couldn't catch him. So, I think that the problem with the Steelers' receiving corps, they potentially have one of the best 3 sets of wide receivers in the NFL. Emmanuel Sanders has been a big disappointment this year. Antonio Brown is a huge disappointment. And Mike Wallace is a huge failure. That's what's on my mind.
You sure that's it, Chip? Because that was great stuff. Thanks. And that's why I enjoy the show. I have a lot of things on my mind, but can somebody pass me that little plate there before Smoking Jim inhales that?
Oh, yeah.
Bring that over.
Holiday treats from my illustrious wife.
George, our cameraman, can you get Stephanie Hayner's... Oh, I can't even hold them anymore. Chip, can you help me?
No,
These are so heavy that we're trying to get a nice shot of the brownies here. Stephanie, thanks for your baking and cooking. It's fantastic. We appreciate it. We've eaten them. Smoking Jim's going to try one during the show. And I'm thankful that we're able to do this. We enjoy eating our food. I got to thank Level 20 when we do our traveling show, Pittsburgh Sportsline at Level 20. Smoking Jim is such a nice guy. He buys a double order of fries just so he can have a normal order because some other guy, myself, is eating them. And the fries are great. You got to come down for the $7 burger and fry special. They have $4.95 pitchers. Colin said to just remind everybody that they run these specials, especially without the Penguin hockey there. So that's some of my advertisements. And then I heard only 2 people watch our show. Well, there's many more. We have a lot of people in Bethel Park. I could start naming all the people from Shop and Save up there. We've even had them show up at our show. Big Mike's a little remiss on this because he doesn't see them all, but they're fans of him. They say, why does he wear a hat when he got that nice head of hair? So there you go, folks. But I'm thankful that we were able to do this show. We've actually expanded, and we've done it. You know, we've done over 74 shows, counting our Level 20 shows. Wow. And I'm thankful that we all got together. Mike Migliori, who left the show, I'm thankful that he brought us all together here. He's a great connector of people. And every once in a while, you can watch him at Pittsburgh Sportsline Level 20. And we've had great guests over the past year. We've had pretty models, actresses, actors. We've had
Smoking Jim.
Smoking Jim. Sometimes he's yelling out his comments. Other times he's so subdued I can't even, well, I still hear him. But I'm thankful to all of you guys watching that. That's what's on my mind. Hey, Chief, thanks again for being a loyal fan, too. You know the Chief there, Big Mike.
Yes, I do.
And he's one of your fans, too. He loves the show. A lot of other guys from the Post-Gazette. And I want to go to our new section where we revisit what's on our mind.
Hey, before you do that, tell the Chief I want to tackle one of them books he brings in.
Oh, here's the other thing.
Tackle?
We had a couple conversations about statistics and everything. And the Chief and his father, Big Jimmy Mack, they used to always bring books and read the statistics on baseball. So Chief brought in a book. And I'm known to exaggerate a little bit, but this is how thick the book was. And Smoking Jim even struggled with as strong as he is on how big it is. But Chip the Prophet Hayner dug right in to Shoeless Joe Jackson.
Wow.
Saw he played for 13 years, had a batting average of .356.
No, he didn't play long enough. He didn't play long enough to play in the,
there's rumors
in the
that,
Hall of Fame. Make
see,
the Hall of Fame.
That's the one thing that's great about sports in Pittsburgh. You can have your opinions, and then you can have your facts. And never do you mix the facts and opinions together. Because then you wouldn't have any excitement like this. So I'm done with my speech. Let's move on to revisit.
Big Jimmy Mack. Who'd you say? What's that?
Big Jimmy Mack.
Sound
McElroy.
Sound like a pimp.
Buddy, this
Hey,
guy
you
was
know what?
nice. His dad, the Chief.
Two things within revisiting what's on our mind.
All
and
right,
I'll get
let's
this
do
over
it.
quick. To speak to Big Mike's point.
There we go.
The Angels, the Dodgers, the Blue Jays have spent a couple of $100 million each trying to buy themselves a title. I agree with Mike. I'm going to go out on a limb here again. Neither one of those teams are going to make the playoffs this year. And also to speak to my little rant regarding the Dallas Cowboys and in the foolish act of allowing a Josh Brent to be on the sidelines. What kind of punishment is going to come down for the Dallas Cowboys? You know, you file all these punishments against other teams, the Steelers, the Saints, etc. I mean, you know, can you punish Jerry Jones for stupidity? I hope so.
No, they already set the table. To revisit your point, Jerry Brown's mother said that they wanted the guy on the sidelines. So there you go. He has an out.
Okay, so
I don't
now-
think it's right. I'm not going to argue.
So does his mother sign their paychecks?
Well, somebody has to be in charge. Somebody has to be in charge, like we all know.
But not Jerry's house.
That's that's a gray area. Now, I did read the part about the guy's mother saying that she would like to see the fellow attend the game, and they had some sort of his jersey ceremony being placed on the bench before the game. This is what I'm reading. Okay, I didn't see it, but I suppose that stupidity on behalf of the Cowboys is something to be addressed, but nobody's mentioned the legal ramifications. I mean, isn't this guy going to go to jail or something? I mean,
well, first he's been accused, and the facts are pretty insurmountable, being that he flipped his Bentley, and his buddy was in the passenger side, and as the police came up on him, he was pulling his buddy out of the vehicle, and he was double the blood alcohol level. But until he's actually officially convicted, there is the presumption of innocence in the United States of America, and that is a constitutional right. And but the facts are what the facts are, and
And it's going to roll like 9 times, I think.
I'm not sure exactly.
Neither of
how
them had
many,
their belt
but,
on either. Their seatbelt. Neither of them had their seatbelt on.
Really?
Yeah. And that's forget about stupidity because it's tragic. But since we're talking about the legal portion of it, and Chip, you mentioned you're innocent until proven guilty, but it's pretty insurmountable, as you said. People that are in that position, they still go to work until they actually, in fact, may go off to jail. Is that correct? No, I'm not condoning.
Well, he's out on bail. He was at $500,000. They reduced it
Correct.
to $100,000 because they put an electronic
were
bracelet on.
If he were Joe Regular, say like myself, would he go to work?
No, he probably would, but
Well,
he's in a
I'd
very
be in jail.
high-profile position.
Okay. Well,
And,
yeah, because it's TV.
And that changes the whole scope of things.
You'd be in jail. I'll tell you again.
I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. But that's. And I'm not sticking up for that, Jazz, because I don't like the Dallas Cowboys, even though I don't even follow football because of that.
Thank you. You're welcome back to the show.
And by the way, you missed a point when you said you look at Jerry Jones as the owner when in fact he's the general manager. Is he not a player as well?
No, he ended that years ago.
Okay.
And I think the kid this is a second DUI, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like Alameda Tiamo. He had an incident with an alcohol-related incident when he was in college. So did this young gentleman with the Cowboys when he was in college. He got, and who doesn't get busted in college for drinking too much at one point or another? I mean, a lot of people do.
A lot of them don't.
I know you've never partaken of the wine.
I learned in my general studies classes never to drink. But
Hey, speaking of general studies, I was
was the Samoan for the Steelers, is he related to Gabe Rivera or no?
No, that was Senor Sack, and and that was another tragic episode.
Without a seatbelt.
Could have been great.
You guys are too melancholy. Let's go on a good subject here.
Oh yeah, like the
What about the Steelers? No, I'm not going to the Pirates yet. What about those Steelers?
What about those?
I
Steelers?
predicted 11-5. I'm eating that crow, like I said last night on the show. So if you didn't see that show, you're hearing it now. I hate to admit that maybe Mike and Smoke and Jim could be right at 8-8. So I'm not going to.
I went
They're going to win 2 more games, folks.
I went
I'm
9-7. Go back and review. I went 9-7 because you went 11-5 and you went 8-8. And
I went
forget.
8-8.
Okay, I wanted to go in between just because I had to go somewhere. So I'm 9-7, so I still got a shot.
To tell you what I think the biggest problem with the Steelers this year, and I've probably watched more games this fall than I usually see in most Steelers seasons, and everyone wants to point the finger of blame at Todd Haley, at Mike Tomlin, at the lack of a special teams coach, and all these other things. And I really think what's coming to the forefront more than anything is a real lack of team leadership. Mm-hmm. I mean, you look at the way Ben Roethlisberger is, some of us feel is a Hall of Fame quarterback, okay?
Yes, sir.
And his tale is not done being written right now. But, you look at the way his wide receiving core is performing, and with the exception of Heath Miller, the rest of them are bums right now. And they need to be taken to task. And Ben, as the leader of that offense, needs to kick them in the butt and tell them, you know what? You're not doing things right. You're not the best in his league. You're not as good as you think you are. You need to work a lot harder. And I mean, I think Larry Foote has tried to fill the role that James Ferrier played. James Ferrier was the captain of the defense, but I think some of the things that are more telling that are missing, you got Aaron Smith. Okay, probably one of the best defensive linemen, run stopper, made a lot of things possible for Steelers linebacking core. Chris Hoke, they're replaced with Ziggy Hood, Cameron Haywood, and these kids just aren't stepping up. There is no leaders out there, and that veteran leadership that we lost from last year to this year. I mean, all the close games that we used to win, we come up on the short side of it.
What does Aaron Smith, Farrier, and Chris Hoke all have in common?
Bill.
Coward guys.
Well, here, besides all that, my opinion on this, I don't know if it's factual or not, but W's cure everything. And we lost all these games by 3 points. So one field goal would make a difference. So can you blame?
We won them. Same way we won the game.
So would one less.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about is when you have a winning season, sometimes you're winning games by 1 point, 2 points. Maybe it's leadership, or maybe it's just
one less
the team's
holding
better
penalty.
than you.
One less fumble, okay? One less run back on a punt or a kickoff called back because of foolish penalties. I mean, there's so many things that if there was one less of. But the one thing that's consistent more than anything else is that in Week 15, which was last Sunday, the Steelers are making the same mistakes that they've been making all year. And these have been addressed. They've been brought out in the press. Everybody knows what they are, and yet the same things keep happening. And, you've got to hold the players to task, and that falls onto the coaching staff. But somebody needs to do something because, all I keep on hearing is, well, you know what, we got to put this game behind us, and, we got to look forward to next week. Well, guess what? Pretty soon there's not going to be any next week, okay? I mean, these guys need to play with a sense of urgency.
Well, here's part of the urgency problem. Big Ben is not really a leader of the team. He doesn't have the respect. He's only won one MVP. Now think about it. He has Hall of Fame statistics. I don't deny that. Character-wise, I don't think a lot of these guys would go in a battle anywhere except on the football field with them. I don't even think they want to hang out with them. And that's part of the problem. Look at what he's done. He's ostracized a lot of people with how he acted, how he changed, and now he's a family man. He deserves a second chance. I'm all for it. But I see through the facade that he puts up there. These guys aren't following him onto the field. And then when he cries about Todd Haley isn't a good coach. And that's part of the problem. He isn't. So you want to battle with Haley? Do it privately because you're a tough guy and you should have been doing no huddle. You should have been passing the Heath. You mean you're a Hall of Fame quarterback and you can't check down the Heath Miller? You can't change a play? Now that's where I got to ask. Go ahead.
Well, you say Big Ben's not a leader, although he is a Hall of Fame quarterback. Where should your leadership come from if it's not coming from the quarterback? Because it should come from your head coach, and clearly the head coach is.
I didn't name who should be the leaders.
Well, clearly, the head coach is not a leader.
I know you.
But I'll agree with you there. Hold it. Let me address that fact. Since my man put it right on me, I can take it. Here's the thing: we have lack of leadership throughout. Chip's alluding to that. Whether it's players like an Aaron Smith that would be there, whether it's Alan Faneca who said, what am I going to follow, a rookie?
A long time.
Right, but I mean, these are leadership guys that you had over the years. You don't like Hines Ward? He was actually a leader. He had young money.
Better, just by his presence there because of his work ethic and because, where every one of them wanted to be in their careers. He was. Now he's gone, and there isn't anybody there that can say to them, what you guys.
Well, he's not really gone. He got a paternity suit in Atlanta filed against him.
Here, Smoking Jim, you've played sports. You're a resident expert. Now, if you're on a team and you got the no money players having brain freezes, not getting kickoffs, not getting punts, standing back too far, not being aggressive.
That ain't on my quarterback.
But I mean, no.
Scotty Montgomery, the quarterback coach, the receiver coach. Get him out of here. Listen, the running back coach is horrible. Okay. Nothing against him. I felt bad when he got burnt in the fire. He needs to go.
Okay.
I mean, you sitting there, your running backs are fumbling. They got the ball in the wrong hand. They never learned how to put the ball properly in the right hand. Listen, on draft day, when arrogant Mike Tomlin was about to draft Rashard Mendenhall, I asked him, because everybody was still, Forte was out there,
yeah.
Ray Rice was there. I mean, it was a running back here. I said, Coach, I love Mendenhall, but I've never seen him take the ball out of his right hand in 4 years at Illinois. And Coach Tomlin says, that's why we got coaches. All right. You got coaches. Now you're benching the guy because he's been fumbling for 4 years.
Well, see, that's the point that I wanted to hear from our fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. We want to get the facts because I'm giving you opinions on what I notice. And sure, if a coach doesn't step up, I've been on teams where a player can lead better than a coach. And I'm sure you have too. And if the coaches are lacking in that capability for whatever reason, maybe they gave too many hugs out. Maybe they didn't.
Like Chip said, for a long time you had the leader of the White House was Hines Ward.
Right.
I don't like Hines.
Right.
And the leader of the running backs was Jerome Bettis.
Right.
And the leader of the world was Bill Cowher. But
Who?
now
I missed that.
maybe you'll have a little bit of leadership now because Mr. Rooney, who's seen his son fail as an attorney, and then he ended up being the owner of the Steelers. Mr. Rooney resigned as ambassador to try to get this organization back together because he can see this
You
organization.
just brought the best point up here on what's going to happen here. I appreciate
when did this
that.
happen?
Tell Big Mike what happened here. That's earth-shaking right there.
Dan Rooney retired as the ambassador to
Ireland.
to become once again the CEO of the Steelers.
When did this occur?
About 3 days ago, 4 days ago.
I've been in the mushroom. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But after not seeing a black person for 4 years, can Mr. Rooney still relate to the brothers?
And you know what? To speak to another point,
I'll give him your number.
Jim was saying that
I'll send it
that
to
Ben's the leader, but do you look for leadership from your quarterback? You look at the quarterbacks that are really, really successful in the league, and you look at Brady, and you look at Peyton Manning. You think any one of their receivers is going to go out there and put in a half effort? I see Brady taking guys to task on the sideline. I see Peyton Manning coaching his receivers, at the line of scrimmage.
Drew Brees,
That's my point. Thanks,
So
Chip.
what I would like to see more of out of Ben is I would like to see more of him being the man that says, you know what, we're going to do this. I'm going to put you on my back, but you guys got to quit lollygagging. And and I don't think until we see that happen we've got a Jekyll and Hyde football team this year. Who's going to show up this week? It's anybody's guess.
I'm predicting a win before we even get to that point. We win out.
We said that 2 weeks ago.
No, it's a replay. We like to repeat ourselves.
Just to go back online. A couple weeks ago, of course, I said San Diego was going to beat them.
Yeah.
But I really believe that the Steelers are really in a disadvantage against Cincinnati. Quarterback's playing well. Green got over 1,200 yards, and you just can't put 35 out there. Who is this walk-on?
I don't know.
I mean, you're putting guys out there. You've already another walk-on got put on injured reserve because he had a separated shoulder that we got from the Raiders.
And so did Willie Colon. He got put on
again,
That's
3
a
years
break.
in a row. Look all that money we could have saved. We could have got a real offensive lineman. Willie Colon hadn't played in
I was talking to our friend Mr. Migliori on Sunday afternoon. He'd stopped over and was watching the game with us, and I was like, all of us agreed last year for the draft, Jim included, myself, Alan, we all agreed that the Steelers needed to do something about the offensive line. And so they spent their first 2 draft picks to Castro and Mike Adams, and the Patriots had the draft pick right after us. And no sooner had we claimed David DeCastro, within seconds, Belichick put in the claim for Hightower, the linebacker out of Alabama. Now, if we would have decided to do things differently, could you imagine what Hightower would have done to this defense? Because this defense this year, they have played well, yes, but they're not like the LeBeau defenses of old. Yeah. They're not causing turnovers. They're not making that big play that stops drives. And in our turnover ratio, I think we're like almost like a -20 now for the season. And the Steelers defenses of the past that have always been number one were predicated on creating turnovers, and that's just not happening, and we don't have that impact player. James Harrison has spent the entire year playing himself back into shape. Lamar Woodley, I love what he brings to the table. I wish he would bring it to the table more often. Okay.
He should push himself away from the table once in a while.
Lawrence Timmons.
That might help.
Lawrence Timmons, he's usually good for about 2 tackles a game, and then, he's conspicuous by all the talent in the world this guy's got. Jason Worlds, I don't know if Jason Worlds is a solution to any of our problems at linebacker, but we don't have the depth we had, and, to be honest with you, wasting the first and second round draft pick on the offensive line, and the offensive line is probably worse this year than it was last. So, I mean, we may have addressed it figuratively speaking, but really we haven't done anything, and I think, you know, we're a lot worse off for it. So, you know, maybe the move for us would have been to take that linebacker in the first round this year.
Yeah, but Chip, hindsight's always 20/20. We
All
did
they had to
speak
do was
about.
listen to us.
I know,
They could have took 'em.
and that's what happened last night with the NFL. I didn't get a chance to get in between you guys with Goodell watches the show, and that's why he sent on. They cannot put that kid back out there on the field. It come down after our show,
Right.
because before the show it wasn't even talked about that he should be on the field or not. They were going to have him out on the field, even though they took him off on TV. Goodell watches our show, so when you take the O out of his name, he understands.
Yes.
He's listening to the show, and if not, he can call in 412-831.
3304.
But you know what, though?
Let's go.
I will tell
Please
you
call in.
You know, Goodell needed to take some action there, and a person that I admire the most for being the first person to stand up and talk about how, you know, much it bothered him was Boomer Esiason.
Yeah.
You know, because he came out right on the halftime show on national TV, and that was the first thing that he wanted to say, and you know, and he felt strongly about it. And I was sitting there like, you know what? I was like, yeah, what gives him the right to be there? Is that, you know, that's. But I mean, you know, it is what it is. It's
Right.
over and done with. They're going to keep him off the field because, you know, it really, you know, Roger Goodell is so worried about the, you know, image and protecting the shield, and they, you know, that's just making a mockery of
I
it.
kept looking at the game, figuring what's in his water bottle.
Did you? Why don't you text me on that? I would have thought that then too. I just wondered what he was doing on the field.
Was going down smooth.
So here we're coming into the end of December here in 2012. There's still no hockey. There's not going to be any hockey.
Man.
I do predict that there will be hockey maybe in October of 2013. I pretty much think that this season's.
Oh, hold it. Hold your
done.
predictions, folks. I want to interrupt. We're going to do a public announcement. We'll have predictions for our first show in January. So we'll do the predictions. We can even go over a few.
We'll do that, but I still think, you know, the people in the hockey lockout, now that the owners have filed suit against the players and the Players Association to justify their lockout. You know, and now the players are going to vote sometime by Thursday whether or not they should decertify the union. I know Alan says this is all posturing, but you know what?
Yes, sir.
This is all horse crap, okay?
That's what posturing is, Chip. Here, it's he said, they said, you sue. Look what happened. Craig Adams is part of the lawsuit because he's one of the leaders. That's a form of intimidation. These players are fearless. So now they're fighting on a different venue. It's called in the courts.
And in the meantime,
No hockey.
there is no hockey. There is, you know, I mean, there is no joy in Mudville. The mighty Casey has struck out.
I like that metaphor. But getting back to your hockey analogy, sir, we'll go to baseball in a couple minutes here, Chip. I can't segue into that without letting the hockey issues go here. Because look at what it's doing to our local economy and all the businesses that are around hockey season. It trickles through the whole community. It's not right. You're costing a lot of people money here that counted on that, from owners to workers to even jitney drivers and their console up there. I mean, they're crying too. How could that happen in America?
My cardboard is backing up, brothers with the, I got two together.
Now they're selling the whole Console Energy Center. You could buy wherever you want. I was even at a meeting the other day. A guy had season tickets, and he offered them to a guy 2 tickets because the guy's not a hockey fan. He was ready to buy it. We had to tell him there's no hockey this year.
Wow.
So who knows what's going on? Maybe the tickets, there's a thriving business in reselling the tickets.
Wow.
But that's something. But no, seriously, it is a shame. And whether I'm for unions or against it, Chip, they've gone way too far. And just like I predicted, you got a lot of nonsense. It's not just Donald Fear. It's Bettman and the owners. They played their strongest hand. They're playing it out in the media. And guess what? We'll see in July what they settle. That's what
They canceled the season through the end of this month. Is that correct?
Yes.
How can there be any sort of a season if they said tomorrow, let's go?
42 games.
If they said tomorrow, if they came to an agreement tomorrow, there'd be games January 1st or 2nd.
Yeah, but what kind of season's that now?
Well, you know
I
what?
think it'd be a good one because you cut out all the BS, all the travel time between West and East Coast, and you get ready to roll. The players are in shape for the long season because I
And
think
actually,
two teams don't make it.
That's going to lead into another point, Mike. You know, but what that would mean is that each of the games that would be played would have much more meaning of it than a regular season game. You know, one of the problems I find with you know, pro basketball in the NHL season and even, you know, Major League Baseball to a degree is the length of the seasons. There are games that guys just don't absolutely have to show up for. You know, they come in their uniform, and we as you know, fans, we spend our $150 a ticket. You know, we expect
Maybe you do, Chip.
we expect to see a performance of a certain caliber, and then you see, you know, guys dogging it and stuff like that. But you know, that leads me to something else. Now we are into the college basketball season now. You know, and Pitt basketball teams 10-1. That's pretty impressive. You know, when you
Number
go to think of it.
27 in the country right now.
Number 27, they can't break into the top 25 until they stop playing high school teams. Okay, they had a big, you know, outstanding, you know, win on Saturday night against Bethune-Cookman. Okay,
Pardon me, I didn't hear you.
It sounds like a cooking show on a Food Network. And that's another school's basketball team. You know, I'm really interested to see how Pitt does. Everybody's saying, "Wow, this team's doing really well." But you know, college basketball, nobody really pays attention to the regular season because the games don't really matter. Because you know what? Your first 10 or 12 games are guaranteed wins because you're playing Joe's Barber College. So that when you get into league play, if you go 500, you make the tournament because the magic number in college basketball is usually approximately 20 wins.
But Chip, what happened to Memphis? Lost a couple games, and then I didn't want to bring it up last night because some people get touchy when they predict things because they're always right. But I saw a team lost. I think they're called Indiana.
Wow.
Bradley beat them.
Well, Bradley, and I'll tell you something.
Butler, I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm not a big basketball
played for 2 of the
fan.
last 3 national championships. It's a very
Hold it,
well-coached
but-
basketball team. In Indiana, mark my words, they are the team to beat come March and April, come tournament time. I do think that that's the best team in the country. You know, there's so much talent out there. Nobody's going to go through the season undefeated.
Whoa, that's not what I heard before they lost. That's why I like the facts, because we all have our opinions. Just like I think the Steelers are always going to win. I know they can't do it, and I know the coaching, the players, the no money and all that stuff. But then it comes down to when you predict these things, like Smoking Jim had a few good years here, but we all make a few errors in judgment. We can't win all the time, but that's what makes this interesting. That's why I like the banner back and forth, guys.
But a loss in the middle of December is not going to affect your ability.
Hold it. But you just said
to vie for the
but they're
national title.
But they're playing grade school teams now, so
That was Pitt. We're talking about Indiana playing Butler, which is a rationally ranked team.
All
What's-
right.
what's wrong
apples
with-
to apples, Alan?
What's wrong with cooking shows? I mean, I love that.
Nothing.
Oh,
Not what I'm expecting to see a basketball game.
I got to vote
I'm
with
seeing
Chip
the
on
Galloping
this.
Gourmet.
I got to vote with Chip. I want to see basketball, not cooking and basketball. So, and then one more thing on basketball. Do you guys remember Linsanity?
Yeah.
There's a
Jeremy
guy,
Lin?
he just come to New York, first time back. People
Over
were
20.
wearing his jersey. I saw a
20.
lot of red jerseys. And then he put up some nice numbers. And then his ex-teammate, Chandler, was pleading innocent because he crushed him
Did he
for a
crush him?
fall.
Did he crush him?
And did you see him pleading to the referee? I didn't do it. And Lynn got up smiling because he absolutely knocked him down. You know, he didn't want him to score.
He got up looking like Heinz Ward,
He did.
smiling all the time.
He did, and it worked because he beat him.
And you know, and
And it was fun to watch that. That's
To
what my
speak to
point
one
is.
of Jim's favorite phrases. Tebow time. Well, there's not going to be any time soon that Tebow is going to be playing because last night Mark Sanchez finally played his way out of the starting quarterback position in New York. Okay. Now I had made statements before the season started. By the 3rd or 4th game, Sanchez will have played his last game as the Jets quarterback, and that Tebow will beat him. Well, Tim Tebow, after 15 weeks of trying, still is not good enough to take the starting job over Mark Sanchez. Greg McElroy will be the starting quarterback for the Jets.
Wow.
They should start him for the rest of the year. He's an experienced national championship winning college quarterback. He gives them a better opportunity to win. Rex, the Mark Sanchez experience is a failure. The Tim Tebow experiment is a failure. You need to draft a quarterback next year, the same as the Steelers do.
Whoa!
That was my scoop about McElroy, but I couldn't remember his first name. I kept thinking of Rory. But I heard that on the way over tonight on the news that they named that kid.
And guess what Chief's last name is?
McElroy.
See, there you go,
Hi,
folks.
Chief.
These Central guys are sticking together.
Wow.
Big
Chief,
time.
there's a shout out to you.
Oh, Chief is Central too. I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
yeah. He tries not to hold any of that against you there, being from Gateway out there.
Yeah, I wanted to ask before this goes any further, before I forget, the first show of the new year, that's prediction night. What are we predicting?
Anything that you
Sports.
might think would happen sometime
Yeah,
in
but-
2013.
But are we
Preferably sports. You can do a prediction like I did that was off target because a lot of people believe that Mayan calendar. And I
wait a-
predicted that would not be the end of the world on the 21st. So we will see you next year. We didn't end the season because of that. It's because of Christmas and New Year's fall on a Tuesday. So the world is not ending, folks. For all of you fans out there, I know there's more than 2 out there in Illinois or Indiana or wherever he
Rick and
finds them.
Loretti?
We're waving. But the predictions are mostly about sports.
Okay.
And you can get one movie in there if you want.
Hey, I don't know if the world's going to end Friday or not, but I'm building this nice, big, sturdy wooden boat in my backyard, and I'm taking animals, one of each. Anybody want to bring them by?
Party animals.
I'm set to ride it out. 40 days, 40 nights, whatever it takes.
Well, I don't think they were.
I'll come, but them 2 chickens ain't gonna make it.
Why do you think they brought a lot of meat?
How about those 2 chickies?
Family show.
It's a family show. We'll try to get back to some semblance of sports. Big Mike, what else in sports is on your mind? Because you're chomping at the bit down there.
I'll pass that eggnog down.
Have a brownie. They're very good.
You have a white? I'm sorry. I'm not. Sports related. Geez,
Try
man,
to.
I'm
I'm putting
okay.
you on the spot.
I got it. I'm on the spot, and I'm going to respond in kind. What day is this? Approximately is the Super Bowl the 3rd week in January?
First week in
February
February.
3rd.
First week. Holy crap! So there's going to be like only 1 week of a pause before we go right into pitchers and catchers reporting.
Oh, it's still winter meetings right now, and I'm surprised you didn't bring anything up.
You know,
There was a
that's all-
pirate trade today.
That's all.
How'd you miss that?
Dan Rooney's back.
Oh, the Pirates.
They made a trade. Okay, lay it on me because I got to hear this one.
Didn't you hear? We got rid of a catcher who batted like 270 something, and we traded him for a
McKendry.
pitcher.
McKendry.
No, minor leaguer. He was a Double-A Altoona player, Cabrera or something.
Okay, and they got a what? A
Now
regular
we got a,
pitcher?
now we got a
or
pitcher, another pitcher. So they're
Major
stockpiling
league,
these
major league
pitchers.
stockpile of pitchers.
Minor league.
What happened? What happened to the stockpile of Ian Snell? Who was the lefty?
They're gone.
Yeah, that's my point. They stockpiled the pitchers.
caught that pretty quick there.
Yes, you did because I was giving you the eyes. These, you know what, Chip? I'm sorry. I rail on the Pirates much too much, but it's not the players. It's not the players. And I'll tell you something I found out recently. Chip, please back me up or shoot me down, one or the other.
He will.
Okay, my favorite owner has been part of the Pirate ownership since 1993. Not just since 2007 when he took over, when his paper out couldn't subside him any longer. He had to become an owner. He has been part of this debacle since 1993.
How many years is that?
I can't count. That'd be 20 maybe.
19, I think.
20. Well,
And they've only lost 20 in a row, so he hasn't been here for the full time.
Yeah, he
Minus-
hasn't been a
minus one.
majority
Right.
owner.
He wasn't a
And to be-
decision
and to be
maker.
honest with you, even after the collapse of last year, I think the Pirates are absolutely headed in the right direction. I'm really looking forward to the season this year. I
wait,
thought
you weren't last year?
I thought last year. I mean, it made me proud to be a Pirate fan last year. Yeah, the collapse hurt like hell. I'm not going to deny it. It was painful in every way, shape, or form. But you know what? I hope that the team is going to learn from it and bounce back. I think they've got a core group of of young, reliable players that they can build around. And I think what I'd like to see the Pirates do is I'd like to see them tie up Neil Walker with a nice bow because, I mean, as far as PR goes, local kid makes it to the bigs, and he's actually an all-star caliber second baseman. And, I'd like to see them lock him up and keep him here. He's just turned 27 years old. He's going to be hitting the prime of his career. Neil Walker, mark my words, Neil Walker will vie for a batting title sometime in the next few seasons.
I think he's a great ball player myself. And when is he arbitrary?
This is his first year of arbitration eligibility.
So he's actually locked up under contract for the rest of 2013 or 13?
Actually, I think they've got rights to him, I believe, up till 2014 or 2015.
So what is arbitration eligibility?
You get X number of years in, then you can go to arbitration. You can you can go to arbitration once, twice, possibly 3 times before you become eligible for free agency after that.
So
he's going to make a lot more money, Mike.
Hey, he's going to make a lot of money.
I don't know what he's making. Is he a $1 million player yet or not?
I don't think so.
Oh, absolutely.
He is?
Yeah.
What is he earning right now? Is he making
I don't know exactly, but I know he's earning more than $1 million a year.
A friend of mine called me earlier today. He says, Mike, I know you're on that sports show in spite of the fact you don't know anything about sports. That's why I don't. That's why I wanted to know about what is he making.
Thanks for the disclaimer.
And they're not going to release what people are making until after. The Pirates have so many people that are eligible for arbitration this year that with the guys that were going to arbitration and looking at what they were potentially going to make off of arbitration, I was going to raise this Pirates payroll probably close to $20 to $24 million, just if they did that and brought nobody else in. So, they're making some moves. They're the biggest question mark I have is what's going to be come of the starting rotation, because other than A.J. Burnett and Wandy Rodriguez, personally, my thoughts are the rotation is wide open after that. I know they like James McDonald, and he did pitch really well in the first half last year, but I don't know where he went in the second half last year. And
tired arm.
And I'd love to see Charlie Martin with his surgically repaired right arm come back and perform at the level that he was beginning to perform at. He's a type of a pitcher that they kind of mimics Roy Halladay. And Roy Halladay is one of the best pitchers in the game, and he's a sinker ball pitcher. And, when teams bat against Roy Halladay, they spend a good portion of the game beating the ball into the infield dirt. Gets a lot of infield outs, and I don't care how you get to 27 outs. If you can get them to, if you can throw 6 pitches in an inning or, try to strike everybody out and throw the ball 100 miles an hour, generally the guys that are trying to do that blow out their arms. And, so there's a lot of positive things to look forward to with the Pirates. People's criticism, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but you know what?
People being
I mean, you know what? I want them to succeed, and you know what? If every decision I've ever made was correct, then you
wouldn't be here today.
Then
you'd be on an island somewhere.
Maybe I would earn the right to be a bit more critical of everybody, but I'm going to criticize who I can, but I'm going to give them a chance, man. This year I think is going to be key, and I think we're all going to be really pleased with what we see.
Well, on the Pirate note, 79 wins. I'm hopeful that they can build on that. Because Chip made me a believer. We went from 57, we're up to 79 wins. We only need, 3 to be winning? 82? Then that could happen. But I'll still bring up my dollar bet next year because it's traditional. I have to.
Paid.
Yeah. I hold it. Wait, I don't know if I still have that here.
Yeah.
Whoa. Folks, there was his buddy there.
It's still crinkled up in Alan's hand. He hasn't let go. It's been clenched in his fist ever since.
To get a Chipper dollar to all you fans of Chip and the Pirates.
Right next to the first one he ever earned.
Oh, second one. The first one got a little wet. I had to put that away there. But that's part of what we like, folks. We got to have fun. And these are opinions like Chip is saying here. And the facts, if they can win more games, that'll prove itself. And if not, we'll talk about Hurdle chewing all that gum, and we'll talk about who's the batting coach, what happened to the pitching, and we'll go through the whole litany of subjects on why they ended up where they did below 500. So I'm hoping that they break this streak for the worst losing streak in North American history. Wow. I hope it ends. I am hopeful.
I
and
believe.
Winter meetings help make an optimist out of me on the Pirates. So I am talking winning Pirates.
The one thing that I'd like to, just to kind of wrap up the baseball segment is, a lot of teams are making a lot of moves, and, The one thing about Major League Baseball is there's just absolutely no guarantee that the way somebody performed last year is going to be the way that they're going to perform this year. And, you know, you look at the hundreds of millions of dollars that people put out. Now, you look at Los Angeles. You know, the Angels have signed Albert Pujols, Josh Hamilton, C.J. Wilson. They're just loading themselves up because they're competing with not the rest of Major League Baseball. They're competing for the dollar, entertainment dollar in Los Angeles. And the Dodgers have been an institution there since they moved west from Brooklyn. And, you know, the Dodgers want to be the team in that market. The Angels are aggressively pursuing them. You know, I mean, you know, in L.A. is probably the largest television market in the country, you know. And, I mean, you know, those teams can afford to charge those prices because look at the TV deals that they have on their own. Look at the Yankees. The Yankees print money. You know, I mean,
and they
you know,
pay other teams a luxury tax.
But they've got more resources at their availability. You know, a bigger pool to draw from than a lot of other teams. But you know, teams like Oakland, like the Baltimore Orioles last year, and you know the Cincinnati Reds, without spending the outrageous amounts of money, are fielding quality baseball teams. And you know, look at the San Francisco Giants last year. Nobody really saw them coming up. I mean, who's the big star they have? But after you look at Buster Posey, can you name anybody else that plays on their team?
No.
You know, and that's
Vogel's
what I mean. You know, they don't have any, you know, $25 million stars. And you know, speaking of that highest paid player in baseball, I think we've probably seen his last hurrah, old Alex Rodriguez.
Whoa.
You know,
Hold it. We have a Yankee fan in all his garb here in case anybody didn't notice. You look splendid.
Oh, thank you much. And
you know, Babe Ruth would be proud of you. That's the last time I'm going to say Babe Ruth on the air this year. You know, because I don't want to say Babe Ruth too many times. But you're looking.
The Alex Rodriguez thing is geez, he's 37, 38 years old, and there's probably, I think we discussed this before, about the link of steroids to unusual type of physical breakdowns, and at least in baseball, there's no doubt in my mind. I mean, I like Alex Rodriguez, and I've told you guys a gazillion times I like the powered players. So I don't know what you asked me, or I don't know what you inferred.
Never mind.
But,
we're just going to move on. But I did want to, since we're winding down the show for the year, we'll just have like a free-for-all. If you want to say something,
how about a
let's start with Chip. How about some
a
trivia?
useless piece of information, okay? Because my friends like to tell me I'm a fountain of useless information, okay? And because Alan brought him up, and I want to go out of the year with a bang with the old Babe. But
yes.
An interesting and useless fact about Babe Ruth is that I believe it was in 1924, 1925, he hit 54 home runs that season. This is prior to him hitting the 60 home run season when he did that in 1927. Well,
that total was...
there were 14 or 15 Major League Baseball teams that did not hit that many home runs that year that Babe Ruth was responsible for. And if you think about one man on your lineup hitting more home runs than 14 or 15 other teams, that just shows you how much head and shoulders he was better than everybody else that played in his era.
That's what I appreciate, because the guy that he modeled his batting stance off of, you know, I'm going to bring that up, Shoeless Joe Jackson. So there you go. This guy perfected his swing, hit baseballs out of the park that were unheard of, more than teams. It's unbelievable. They had a guy named Home Run Baker about 20 years before that would hit 8, 10, 12 home runs. He was called Home Run Baker.
Wow.
So there's some facts. We're throwing trivia at you, folks.
Babe
You never
Ruth
hear
was
anything.
as good of a pitcher as he was a hitter.
Ain't that something?
He held records up until I think even last year, and he may have a couple that are still on the books. I'll research it for next year. But we're going to go off this.
Sound like Shoeless should be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, now you got me going on another thing. We'll cover that next year. We'll predict whether that happens.
But he was banned for life for gambling, for being involved in a gambling scandal.
And Smoking Jim, I want to tell you, this is no offense meant towards you. He didn't go to college. He never read a book. But yet he helped with a book. And no offense meant here, my friend. And he was a great businessman. And he played incognito. People didn't, and he disguised himself, and he played for years. It wasn't just in the movie. Some people want to say, oh, you just saw the movie. There's books out there for you too about him, and they're true. But I want to just cover, if you have anything else to say, Smoking Jim, you know, on what your thoughts are from sports or what you think's going to happen with Steelers or anything else, my
Well,
friend.
I actually have a question for all you guys. Who is Pitt playing in the bowl game, and do you think they'll win?
Pitt is playing Ole Miss,
Okay.
and this is the first time they've ever played Ole Miss.
They
and,
still protesting down there?
Don't know about that, and I don't know much about what goes on in the borders of Mississippi. But, you know,
Ask Mike Wallace.
the way I look at it,
Please.
is playing Mississippi, Ole Miss. Pitt's actually going to be playing a team from the real football conference, the SEC. Okay, I would have to say that Mississippi's going to be favored. I mean, you know, when you lose to Youngstown State, among others, and then you had that offensive explosion against Buffalo.
Chip, we appreciate your humor. Here, let me just lay it out.
So to answer your question, I think that Ole Miss is going to run wild on the running. You know, the Rebels are going to they're going to beat the Yankees this this.
Pitt is not it in the bowl. I'll just tell you the BP XYZ LMNOP.
It's
They're
the
losing.
BBVA Compass
Compass.
Bowl, and Pitt is the third year running. They're in this bowl.
It's traditional.
And, yeah, no, I mean, and Tino can put that on his mantle place.
And what's your thoughts, Smoking Jim? Since you're asking the questions, what's Pitt going to do?
Well, you know, the bowl game is good because Pitt can get those extra practices that Coach Chris needed
Right.
in preseason.
But don't they owe money when they go to those bowls? I think I was bringing that up last night. Some of these bowls, I think they owe money because it costs a lot to get all these players and people
and
there.
The band.
Right.
Yeah.
And the cheerleaders, and the coaches of the cheerleaders, and all the other stuff. But I do want to.
Hey, congratulations though
No,
to Bobby.
you know what?
Congratulations to Bobby Petrino. He's back in the football.
Yes,
Yeah.
he is. It didn't take him long. But you know what? When we're wrapping up here, we're getting close to the end of the show. You know, I want to give a little shout out to all the champions from this year. The Los Angeles Kings won their first Stanley Cup. The San Francisco Giants once again won the World Series. The New York Giants started out the year by winning the Super Bowl. And the Miami Heat, LeBron James took the title this past summer. The LA Galaxy won the MLS title. Okay, and let's not forget the American women's gymnastics team from the Summer Olympics that took home the team gold, and little Gabby Douglas that took home the individual gold medal. And all the
How
other,
about the swimmers? You
all
forgot
the
the
other all
swimmers.
the other Olympians that won medals for the
Any
United
boxers
States.
won any gold?
I can't
No gold
remember.
boxers. I forget
I
that.
can't remember. But all in all, this was a great year in sports. There was a lot of champions. There were some champions that were kind of humiliated and dragged through the mud. First one coming to my mind would have been Roger Clemens, followed by Lance Armstrong.
On a positive note, Tiger Woods come back. He ended up showing that he can still play, post steroids.
And
So we have good things there.
And
So
he will never win another major.
I'll bet against that. But I do want to give a couple thanks. I want to thank Dave Cable with BPTV. I want to thank Aaron Ward for all the great help, great guidance, and even setting our microphones up. Devin Shea does one of the best jobs here, helping us to produce this show in both places. It's fantastic. We have George as a cameraman. George, thank you. It's hard to keep with us because we all start talking. You've been whipping that camera around. I'm getting dizzy. But Big Mike, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Smoking Jim Frazier, same. Chip Hayner, it's been a pleasure. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine. Thanks for watching the show. Wait till you see us next year.
Merry Christmas to all. To all, good night.
And
Good
Happy
stuff, good
New
stuff.
Year.